Why school sucks. Today, I'm going to be talking about American education system and how I've kind of fit into this whole program. I think schools haven't changed since the early 1900s or the early even 1800s. You're just sat in the classroom hearing these teachers talk. And I have 5 reasons for why right now school still sucks. Coming in at coming in number 15. At number 1, you can't fail. So coming in and out of the education system, I've noticed a common thread. A little background on me. I'm currently in undergrad. I have like 3 semesters left of college, and I really do plan on going to grad school, but we'll see what happens, you know what I mean? But ever since we're in grade school, and I mean like second grade, grades like A's and B's and like 80%, 90%, whatever, they just seem to be this huge thing that we've compared ourselves to. I think we shape our identity around what grades we got when we were younger. Not if we were good at the basketball team, not if we were good at making friends, not if we were good at, just solving problems, which is the main way to get paid today, which is a really good value system. Someone could be really good at, housework, homework, but really be bad at school. And it made a difference on how we perceived ourselves in the world. I think I had like a B average or maybe like a 3.5 GPA graduating high school. And to me, this always meant that I was average. And to other people, I think it also means that, I'm average. Or if you got an A, it's like I'm slightly above average. And if you got a C, you're like, C is for charisma, or like, you're more charming or whatever. The first reason why I think school sucks, like I said, is based on failure. If you get 2 questions out of 10 wrong, you're average. I want to tell all the teachers and educators and students of the world, even though I am not, anything of super importance or I don't hold the title, but I think personally, my theory is that most of the grades you got in grade school were not based on how smart you actually were. They aren't based on if you showed up to class or circled in the right bubble. They're based on your home environment. Typically, the kids with the worst home environments fail, even if they're really smart. Think about Lip Gallagher from Shameless. I don't know if you've ever watched that series. It's the habits and the mindsets that you're fighting at school. So if you think that you're average at home, you'll probably be average at school. If your parents only, require you getting a B and they don't care if you get an A, and they may have a talk, but they may not even care if you get a C, and you have other issues like you have to socialize or you have more responsibilities, then school doesn't necessarily become this entire life, thing. You're not focused on it. And maybe that's okay in some cases, and maybe that's not okay if it's like in those really bad home environments. But even if you have like a C average, like you tried really hard in school, you studied more than the average person, but you still weren't, I guess, smart. But how is that even fair to call someone who has a C average dumb? You know what I mean? You are held back. You really can't get any good scholarships to better your education, which then kind of just puts you in this entire loop. You can't go to school, and if you do go to school, you're in debt, and then you have to pay back that debt. And so you're always going to be in this habitual, mindset, because even though, I talk about how to improve your mindset, some people just can't get out of that loop. The second reason why school sucks is because of the cost. The cost of college is crazy, but I'm going to be a little controversial here. I think college is still needed. So many rich entrepreneurs tell young kids that they should skip college and start a business. But going to college surrounds you with people who are also serious about getting smarter. You go to college and you meet people that might be in your wedding. You might meet your romantic partner, and skipping this experience means that you're left between the ages of 18 to 22 with brokies and adults at fast food restaurants who hate their life. College is really the experience to create a community with people your age. And it's honestly one of the reasons why I went back after my 2-year gap. Going out into the real world was a wake-up call to me. Being around other kids who didn't go to college wasn't at all how I expected it to be. I was trying to be an entrepreneur and level up and start my own drop shipping business, which didn't really work. And they were smoking and partying and telling me how college is useless. Meanwhile, we're both putting boxers on a conveyor belt in a warehouse. Cost is so high. And I know the cost of this experience is astronomical, which is why college sucks in this regard. You have to get into debt, which most people don't even pay off until like 50, just for an undergrad. The interest rates are crazy, and I truly believe they're scamming 17, 18, and 19-year-old kids. If you are going to go, I would say have a job. And not just a part-time job. And I know your mental health, you got to focus on that. But a full-time one, which is also hard. You can go at night or work at night and go in the mornings. I'd rather go to school slowly and pay it all off and, graduate really late with no debt than having to pay my undergrad debt for the next 20 years, I think the third thing is learned helplessness. In the real world, the best workers learn to collaborate. They learn to communicate with others in order to get a project done on time. But in school, you're taught to be competitive. You're not allowed to group up as much as you want to. You're just at a small desk watching the teacher perform for like 45 minutes. Or if you're in college, it's like 2 to 3 hours. If you have a question, you feel small by asking it. You're alone. And not a lot of people talk. It's a place to listen, to be seen and not heard. I think, especially in college, you can't really develop these friendships with some of the kids in your class because the teacher never allows you to collaborate. The vibe is like dead, and you just learn to help yourself. You learn to never go and ask your classmate a question. Like, I know a countless amount of times where I just don't get the information and the teacher's teaching the class. And so I'll talk to the person next to me like a normal human being does. Can you just repeat what they said? And like, what did they say? Right? And then the teacher will stop the class and say, oh, OFK, why are you talking, to this person right here? And I'm like, because I didn't get it. You should ask me and not the person next to you. And it's like, what sick-minded, being really is like, but you're taught that. That's how you are taught how to teach the class, by just having everybody shut up and you just talk over everybody. And like, I don't know. I think it's the worst kind of trauma. The trauma that teaches you to be overly independent. The trauma that teaches you to never ask for help. It makes you feel worthless because you either get it, and if you don't get it, you feel like nobody else gets you. Now, I've never been personally afraid to ask questions in class. I'm probably the kid that asks one too many questions, and it's simply, honestly, because I get like a good ego stroke out of doing it. But also it's because I have no clue what the heck is going on half the time. I'm daydreaming or I'm watching Fortnite videos in the back of the class. So I'm really not afraid. The issue is when I don't get to connect or collab with other people, and the teacher is the only source of knowledge. And when I do get to collab outside of class, it feels like I'm cheating. I wouldn't even know if I'm cheating or not, as besides like obviously sending me the answers to a test, but just even working with someone, because I haven't been taught what healthy collaboration and study peers look like. Those are the things that I believe you're taught in private school or in other type of schools. But public schools just want you to kind of just shut up and not talk over the authority figure. And I don't know, it's just really bad to me. the second you start to fail, or the second you start to your grades slip up, your teacher asks, like, why is this paper so bad? Like, did you use ChatGPT? Did you use Wikipedia? Are you stupid? And it's like, no, I have other things on my mind besides the class. So if you're not doing a good enough job teaching me, because I'm literally just listening to you talk for the next 45, 2 hours, and my mind is going to wander off. If you don't do a good enough job entertaining me, which is their also job, but they literally don't see it like that, there's about a 20% chance that I won't have time to figure it out while I'm working 40 hours a week and spending my time on other classes and just my life. It's, your class is not the most important thing. Your home environment is really dictating, your grades. And if you have a stressful week or two, it can really put you back from learning certain things in a specific class just because you have, life. And, life is always going to happen. So I never blame somebody, or like, if I was a teacher, I would have to be understanding, but some teachers aren't. Some schools aren't. You get through life, you can get cancer for all they care. You failed. You got to take this grade again. Fourth reason is because of the drama. Now, drama is one of the things that will happen no matter where you go in life. And this is because everybody has their own perspective on life. They are from their own household where they're taught certain rules, certain life goals, hobbies, etc. And with that, many people may see you in a way which you don't see yourself. Maybe they can only see the negatives in you because they were taught that, but they never really got to uncover that subconscious feeling. They might then discuss it with their friends, or, your work friends or your school friends, and the problems that they have with you are technically completely valid. But that friend or that person might stir it up, and now you have rumors about you. The topic becomes so interesting as they try to decode your personality and what you've been through. They kind of like just start rumors. And you know what? This may be true, or it may just be an exaggerated estimate on who you are based off of who they are in comparison, plus boredom from the teachers just talking their butt off in class. Drama and rumors don't stop in the real world. Everyone talks, but when the drama is taking a toll on your mental health, school can really suck. You already don't want to be there because of the boredom. Now you're trapped in between dumb rumors and death stares. The last reason why I think school sucks is because I just don't learn the way school teaches me. Most of these teachers, in my personal opinion, don't know how to teach. I think the best method to learn is by active recall and practice questions. This really gets your mind in test mode. And since we are judged by our grades, part 1 of this video, maybe teachers need to spend a little less time talking and actually more time teaching. I've had so many teachers that get on their little stage and go on these endless monologues about the discussion. Even if what they're saying is something that they're passionate about, which usually all teachers are really passionate about it, at least in my case, it's still so freaking boring. Nobody wants to hear about the war. If teachers spend time making sheets or having practice questions so that we can learn, I think that would be most helpful, not only to calculate what we actually need to learn based on the class, but so that we can also collab, like I said before. There's no classwork anymore. And if there is, it's graded and you have to do it alone in your little freaking desk. How come we can't get into little breakout groups, do classwork, whether we choose to do it alone or with the group, or actually just talk to people? Hand it in. The teacher does the analysis, like, oh, you got question 2 wrong, which means you have to spend more time studying about the mitochondria. And then if everyone or half the class gets question 2 wrong, the teacher spends more time on that section without us failing to see where we need to course correct. Hey, I'm just going to talk to you about the different subjects, and hopefully you understand it in the time frame we have, even though I might not be able to teach it correctly. And have a good winter break. after they give you a C plus for not teaching what was actually on the test. Sit us down, ask us what a vocab word means, pick on the kid who raises their hand, go over new material. This is probably the fun part for most of them because they get to hear themselves talk, and then give us rooms to collab with each other and course correct us when we get questions wrong or just have an ungraded diagnosis. I don't know. I think I just solved the whole education system in about 17 minutes, but I'm just kidding. I may not know what I'm talking about.